Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. On behalf of my family and my friends, I will first like to thank God. I would also like to thank the committee leaders and the judges for donating their time to listen to our speeches. Finally, I would like to dedicate my speech to all the teachers at Mandam Kodoko, as I wouldn't be the person I am today without your guidance. And now, I would like to present my speech under the topic of Education in Indonesia. Hello, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine. And you?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a tape recorder. This is not a student. It cannot think on its own. It cannot be creative. It can only repeat. If you ask me, how can we improve the education system in Indonesia? This is where I would begin. Too often, what I just demonstrated is how an Indonesian classroom is run. A teacher will say a sentence or write something on the board, and the students will all repeat what was said without any concept of its meaning. Let's take for example, learning English. I ask you, what is the point of reading or writing if you don't understand the words that you are reading or writing? Does it make sense to learn a language if you cannot use it? How often do our classes consist of complete the activity on page blah 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 in your LKS? Is this truly learning? Absolutely not. So, how can we improve the education system in Indonesia? In my opinion, we need teachers who see their students as more than this. We need teachers who get their students to use their minds as more than a tool for memorization, but as an instrument to envision, to imagine, and to create. Indonesia and the world need teachers who see their students as inventors, as thinkers, as people. Not this. I never fully understood this until last year. My brothers and sisters, I would like to share with you a story from my own life. I stand before you today as a proud senior at Mandam Kodoko. 2 years ago, I was a student at a high school in Kediri. My parents paid for me to go to a school that in their minds was better. You know, it was better. It had great facilities, computers, and it was in the city. So, it had to be a good school, they thought. Every day, class was exactly the same. We will listen and repeat, write and repeat, read and repeat. My mind became one-dimensional, only used to recite, never to think or to create. This made school a burden on me. It was boring. I didn't like to study. I didn't want to go to class. Last year, I got very sick. It forced me to leave Kediri and move back to my small village in Kesamping. I enrolled at Mandam Kodoko, which is very different from my school in Kediri. I now realize that having to move back to Jombang was one of the most influential events that ever happened in my life. For the first time, I had teachers that forced me to use my mind, not just for memorizing, but to actually think. For the first time, I had teachers that pushed their students to be the best, to see their potential, and to maximize on their abilities. In Kediri, I had teachers that were happy when I succeeded. But it wasn't until I was at Manam that I had teachers that were disappointed in me when I did not try my best or perform to my potential. Being disappointed meant that they were invested in me, not just as a student, but as a person. They made me wonder, they made me question, and they made me criticize. At Manam, they taught me that school isn't defined by its facilities or its location, but a school is defined by the spirit of its teachers and its students. My English teacher always tells me that you can have the best facilities in the world, but if you don't have motivated teachers and students to fill them, then they mean nothing. Nothing. 2 years ago, I was a tape recorder. Today, I'm a free mind. Indonesia needs teachers who get their students to set their minds free and to think and to expose them to creativity. We need teachers who say that mathematics, history, and religion are all very important for us, but that we mustn't forget art and music and the sciences. Because it is when we study art and music that we learn to create. When we study the sciences, that we learn to invent. We need teachers who tell us that we must read, not just textbooks, but we must read poetry and novels and anything else that will stretch the limits of our imagination. Those who tell us that we must write, not only on exams, but we must write songs and stories and poems. When we use our minds to think, and when we expose them to creativity, that we will see the world beyond just numbers and letters. But we will see the true beauty of this world. Ladies and gentlemen, I will restate my belief. If we teach our students to use their minds as more than a tool for memorization, but as an instrument to envision, to imagine, and to create, we will provide the future Indonesia with the citizens that are well-rounded with the capacity to lead and to think critically. Remember, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا عُصِدَ الأمر لغير أهله فانتظر الساعة. You might not agree with what I have just told you, but I hope we can all agree that our minds are not one-dimensional. My brothers and sisters, I will leave you with a quote. Don't be afraid to be different, to be the best, because striving for mediocrity isn't good enough. Jangan takut untuk menjadi yang terbaik, untuk berbeda, karena berusaha untuk sesuatu yang biasa-biasa saja tidaklah bagus. This quote is not by someone famous or anyone you have ever heard of, but it is by my teacher, Mr. Chung. He and the teachers at Panam taught me that my mind is more than this. I am a student. We are students. We are no tape recorders. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.